Hello. All right, so let's get started with some math practice first. Let's look at some interesting problems that are on the SAT question bank. Maybe, and here's the question bank, by the way. So one of the questions that we can work on are, some of the questions that we can work on are kind of like these medium difficulty ones here, right? So the ones with 2 bars. So let's see how we can solve this one. So this particular problem, again, remember this is the SAT test prep. So one of the easy questions is to look at how many solutions does the system have. So the solution that the system has is basically just another word for how many ways does this line cut this line here, right? That's all. So how many ways does it cut it? Do you see it? It cuts it here because you've got this curve and you got this curve. So it cuts it here and it cuts it here. And that's it. So the answer is 2, right? So if you're watching for later and you're thinking like, okay, how can I have one more problem of this type? So let's try to see how we can solve it. Okay. Um, let's try if you have a curve like this, for instance, and you have another curve that goes this way. So later when you're watching it, and if you want to see how do you solve this, it's here. How many solutions does this have? So think about it for a minute. It's this point here, and this point here. So you've got 3 points, 3 intersections, right? So that's how you'll be able to solve this one. All right, let's move on to the next one. Okay, this is a good problem. So the strategy for this one is you have an inequality. 6x minus 9y is greater than or equal to 12. So how do you solve this particular problem? Oops. How do you solve this particular problem? What's the greatest common factor for 6, 9, and 12? It's 3. Right, it's 3, because 3 can go into 6, 9, and 12. Just divide by 3. Right, very easy. 6 divided by 3 is 2x. 9 divided by 3 is 3y. And 12 divided by 3 is 4. And there you go. That's your answer. 2x minus 3y is greater than 4. Extremely easy to solve this problem. Let's try one more problem of the same type. Supposing you have 15x minus 10y is greater than 20, right? 15x minus 10y is greater than 20. Now, how do you solve this problem? So remember what I said. You divide by the number that goes into all of them. And what is that? So I'll wait for you to solve this. Very nice. So it's going to be divide by 5, divide by 5, and divide by 5. So therefore, you get 3x minus 2y is greater than 4. And so you've got this answer, right? So this way, you can try some more problems and you'll be able to answer them. Let's move on. So we're moving fairly fast. Remember, all of this is on my YouTube channel, so you can watch again. Let's look at this one. How do we solve this particular one? So xy is a solution to the system of equations above. So when you have this word system of equations, right, you want to think about it very carefully. It's take the y value here and take the y value here. And they are the same. This y and this y, because this is y, these parts are also same. So this is called the y is equal to y method. Y is equal to y method. So all you're doing here is x plus 1. This part should be equal to x squared plus x, right? I'll write it the other way around. It might be a bit easier. X squared plus x is equal to x plus 1, because this part is equal to this. The reason being these and this are the same, right? So x squared plus 1 is equal to x plus 1. Now, x squared plus x is equal to x plus 1, because there's x squared plus x here. And What do you do now after this is you will x plus 1, you will get rid of the x, these x's on both sides, because they're the same value, right? Because they're the same value, let's just delete them. So you deleted them and you've got x squared is equal to 1. Easy. And so therefore x is equal to plus or minus 1. And there you go, that's your answer, right? X can be equal to 1 or minus 1. Remember, x squared is equal to 1 is very important for you to understand. X is equal to 1 or negative 1. So therefore, negative 1 is the answer. In general, you want to remember this idea. If you have x squared is equal to 16, then most people will say, oh, x is equal to 4, and then they're done. But no, x is also equal to negative 4. It's very important for us to understand that x is equal to negative 4. Very important, very, very important idea here. Right, x is equal to negative 4 and x is equal to 4. Okay, so I'll give you one more problem, and then when you're watching it later, you can solve it. X, same idea here. X squared plus x is equal to x plus 25. How do you solve this one? So think about it. Remember, you already have this. I kind of like simplified the problem a bit. You've got x squared plus x is equal to x plus 25. So what do you do now? You subtract the x's from both sides, and you get x squared is equal to 25. So x squared is equal to 25. And so x is equal to 5 or negative 5. So these are the possible answers that you can have. So this is a very important problem. Remember, more of these are on my YouTube channel, so you can check them. But this is a live session, so just helping you out with some of these. Again, this is a medium difficulty, which means it has 2 bars. Remember, this is like provided by the College Board, so we're working directly from here. Now here's an easy shortcut also that you can think about. What's the shortcut here? So if p is equal to 3x plus 4, p is equal to 3x plus 4, and this, and then they're asking you this part, right? Now, as soon as you see the word equivalent, there is an easy shortcut that you've seen we demonstrate before as well. What you want to do is just make x to be equal to 0. Just make it equal to 0. So, and put the value in. So p is equal to 3x plus 4. Right? P is equal to 3x plus 4. Put x is equal to 0. What does that mean? Done. P is equal to 4. And if you put x is equal to here, x is equal to 0 here, you get v is equal to 5. Right? Let's just rewrite this one more time. In our kind of like almost like cheating, SAT cheating method, you put p is equal to 4. Because I made this x is 0, I just made this vanish. It's the Kochash magic in a way. You can think about it this way. P is equal to 4, and then v is equal to 5. But also don't forget, these x's are also going to go away. So your life is greatly simplified. This is like the lazy SAT math method of doing things, right? All of these are gone. So you're given p is equal to 4, v is equal to 5, and now can you evaluate what is pv minus 2p plus v? So p is equal to 4, v is equal to 5. Just write it down here, 4 times 5. Minus 2 times p, minus 2 times 4, and plus v, which is 5. So let's calculate this. Now this one you can use a calculator. I would highly recommend you use a calculator for this one. We get 20 minus 8 plus 5. All right, so that makes it 20 minus 8 is 12, plus 5 is 17. And there you go. That's your answer. So this way you can greatly simplify this math in case you don't want to do the overall math, right? Just get rid of the x's. Wherever you see, just move the x's and you got the answer. Right? Of course, the more complicated way of doing it is you want to plug in a lot of math values here. So PV will be 3x plus 4. V will be x plus 5. Multiply it. You get 3x squared, and then you have 4x plus this, blah, blah, blah. You'll have a lot of math to work on. So therefore, I suggested this problem is the easy way for you to work on. Okay, let's move on to the next problem here. Now here's a shortcut. Another shortcut to solve these problems is to make the shortcut to solve this particular problem is to make this value 4a squared. Just remember this 4a squared. Anytime you have three terms, you try to figure out the square root of 4. What is that? Square root of 4. You can punch in your calculator as well. It's equal to 2. And the square root of a squared you can memorize is 8. So what I'm trying to say is 4a squared you can write as 2a squared like this. Right? Now you got this one also 25p squared. Can you guess how you can write 25p squared? You can write 25p squared as 5 because the square root of 25 is 5. And then you can write the b and you square this. Now that's it. That's all you need for this. So you got 2a, which is here. And don't forget the plus sign here, plus 5b. And that's the answer. So is this some kind of magic? Of course, there is some logic to it, but you don't need to understand the logic too much right now. If you're going for 700 plus score, we can discuss it right now. You just memorize it this way. These are the easy shortcuts to improve your score on the test. Let's try one more problem of this type. All right, let's try, what's a good one? Let's see 81x squared plus 100 y squared, right? 81x squared plus 100 y squared plus 180 xy. What do you do for this one? Take this value. What's the square root of 81 and what's the square root of x squared? So let's see if you can try it. (81) is 9 and x squared is x. And here you got 100 y squared. What's the square root of 100? Well, the square root of y squared. And then take this plus sign and put it here. So this is a factor of it, right? This is a factor of it. In fact, the actual math is this squared is exactly equal to this value. And soon, we can look at this. But for now, just to start, you can quickly go through and solve these problems. You see, in a matter of maybe 12 minutes or so, we've solved 10 problems this way using all of these shortcuts, right? Remember, the main idea is you just want to keep solving these problems, and that you will just remember all of these shortcuts. You can also look at the other videos on my channel which have these shortcuts. All you need to do is keep practicing these shortcuts and you will be all set. Okay. This is an easy problem. Again, I think most of you will be able to solve this. How do you solve this one? X plus 5 plus 2x minus 3. So what do you have? X and 2x. Remember, if you have parentheses, right? And if you have parentheses and there's a plus in between them, if you have parentheses and a plus in between them, you can get rid of the parentheses immediately. You don't need them. So there were parentheses here like this. I just deleted them. You don't need it. Okay, and let's add it. X plus 2x is 3x. And 5 plus 3. 5 minus 3 is 2. There you go. That's the answer, right? So B is the correct answer. Now let's try one more problem of this type. Let's see if you can try it. Suppose you have 3. Now I made it a bit challenging. 3x minus 2 plus 4x plus 7. What do you do now? So this is a little bit of a more advanced problem, not very difficult. You just, as soon as you see the parentheses like this and a number in front of it, you will distribute the number to both of these. So you will get 3x minus 6. And here also you'll get 4x 7. So you'll get 4x plus 28. And then you can add this. 3x plus 4x is 7x. And negative 6 plus 28 gives you 21. All right, that's the answer. If you're sharp-eyed, I made a mistake here in this. Can you guess what's the exact answer here? Yes, you always try to figure out if I make a mistake or not. The answer actually is 22, right? That's the answer. Very cool. I think you're getting it when you watch it. Post your answers on the comments in how you will solve these extra problems, because then you will you'll remember them better. Okay, let's try. This is such a beautiful problem, right? Once you understand how to solve these problems, your score is going to boost like crazy. So let's try to understand how we can solve some of these. The way you think about this always is equivalent. And x is greater than 0, 7, whatever. We don't care. Just use this formula. X is equal to 0. So when you see x is equal to 0, right, I'm going to write this down in such a clear fashion for you. Your mind is going to be blown away. Like, look at this. I'm just going to write it like this. Over 2x minus 14. So wherever I see an x, I'm just going to, I'm going to take a marker and just erase the part, right? So maybe there's a way to kind of like, you have an eraser here, right? And I'm just going to I'm going to erase this. So if there's an x, this part is gone. Okay, unfortunately, I cannot erase it directly like this. So I'm just going to cancel it out, okay? So I'm just going to get rid of this one. If there's an x, just cancel this out. If there's an x, just cancel this out. And if there's an x, just cancel this out. So what you're left with is such a simple expression. I'll rewrite this here. You're just going to get negative 7 minus 3 times negative 7 over negative 14. You see, I greatly simplified this to such an easy problem for you. Now let's rewrite this a little bit better and solve this. Actually, I made a slight mistake here, so I'm going to rewrite this part here. Because there is an x here, right? This part becomes a 0, right? Because we're taking x to be equal to 0. And 0 times anything is 0. So actually, this entire thing, even less work for us, this entire thing is gone, and this entire thing is gone, and this entire thing is gone. You can rewind it and see it later when you have it. This is basically it. So you got 3 times 7 is 21. Negative minus minus becomes a plus, right? So therefore you get 21 over negative 14. And this one, you can put it in your calculator and you can write this as negative 3 over 2. Now, if you don't know how to reduce this, you can directly go to Desmos, right? And you can try to actually solve this problem here. So let me see if I can share this with you somehow. Desmos has a great functionality, and as you know, that Desmos is, you're allowed to use Desmos in your math, right? So in your test, so you can write negative 21 over 14. Somehow, let me just share this with you. Let's see, how can I share this with you? So remember, we had negative 21 over 14 with a negative sign, right? So this is equal to negative 3 over 2. Let me share with this video in just a quick second. Let's actually solve this problem. So you've got negative 3 over 2. This crazy thing here, I've just simplified it to negative 3 over 2. Now, which of these is negative 3 over 2? The same strategy, just get rid of this x. You got negative 7 over 5. Here, rid of this negative 3 over 2, and boom. There you go. That's your answer. This one, if you get rid of all of these x's, you get negative 14 over negative 14, which is 1. And all of these is like some other weird answer. You get 11 over 2 or so. And so this is your answer, right? So this is how you want to be carefully solving this particular problem. Great. So we've solved this particular one. Now, see if you can try to solve this particular one the same way. Same math. Remember, it's all about memorization for the SAT test. It's all just memorizing. That's all. Okay, I'm going to give you one more problem of this type. Okay, let's see. How can we do 16x times x minus 7 minus 6 times x minus 7 over 4x minus 28. So what do you do? you're going to do the same thing. You make x is equal to 0. Now, if you're aiming for 700 plus score, I got a very easy shortcut for you, but I think you need more algebraic maturity for it. But right now, this is good. X is equal to 0, which means this part is gone. All of this is gone because you have a 0 times something, and this is gone. So what is this? 6 times 7 is 42. Minus 1 has become the plus. And then this is gone, and you have a 28 here. So 42 over 28 with a negative sign. I'm going to float this negative to the top here. And then you can simplify this further. Let me share with you how you can simplify. But 7 times 14. 14 times 3 is 42, and 14 times 2 is 28, and you'll get the answer, which is negative 3 over 2. So this value, again, is negative 3 over 2, right? Now, let's see. How about these ones? The same idea. This is negative 7 over 5. This is negative 3 over 2. Again, this is the answer, and you're done, right? So that's how you will solve this particular problem. The way you can go for this, let me just mark this here. This is page 11. So what I wanted to share with you was this Desmos thing, right? So if you have, let's say, what was it? 42 over 28, negative 42 over 28. So you'll have Desmos on your test, right? So you have a negative 1.5, but if you click here, see, you can click here. How can I share this with you now? It's blocking. That's fine. It's this part here. You see this section. I'm going to mark this here. Note here, right? This part. And then there's going to be one thing here. It's blocking it, but I'm going to unblock it now. And you can see it. It's here, right? Do you see this one? You click on this, and there you go. You get the answer here. Then you can get this answer over here. You just need to click here, and then you'll be able to reduce this to this. So this is a very easy strategy. You can do anything that you want, 119 over 39, etc. And then you can use the calculator to get this answer. Sorry, I meant 117, right, etc. You can get maybe 65 is a better one. So you can get the most, and this is what you want to plug in the actual answer, right? So this will be the answer. Okay, moving on. So let's try to see how we can solve this other problem that we were looking at. This particular one, page 11. So remember, basically all of these sheets are available online. You can just email me and I'll send them to you. These questions are actually the questions that are provided by the College Board for your practice. So it's a very useful one. Okay, for the other people, 700 people who want to understand how do you solve this particular problem, all you want to think about is the way you think about this one is where's it gone? Here, hopefully you can see this better. You want to think about x minus 7, because it's right here. There's an x minus 7 and x minus 7, right? You bring it together, and the other one is 8x minus 3. Remember, the SAT questions are never hard. There's always a shortcut, and this is a shortcut. And you factor out the 2 here, you get x minus 7. And then you cross out the 7, and boom, we got this answer, x minus 3 over 2, right? So remember, that's the 700 plus. Only if you're aiming for 700 plus, you want to look at this. Otherwise, you make the x is equal to 0 strategy, and you're all set. Okay, so let's see what's the next practice problem now for us. Oh, I love this problem. This is always look at this part here, right? This is a harder difficulty problem here, right? So in the question bank, they mentioned this is a hard one, but I think all of you are totally capable of doing it. It's only hard for people who are, don't attend this session. Okay, so let's see how we'll work on this. They have given a lot of math here. The quadratic blah 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 intersects the x-axis at this point. So the most important thing, and remember, this is a hard problem, so all you want to think about is this equation and these points, right? So what this thing means is the x value, wherever you see x, you put a t, and wherever you see a y, you put a 0. So what's the y here? The y is always this left-hand side. So I'm going to put a 0 is equal to 2 times t minus 4 squared minus 32. Right? That's it. Easy. That's the important idea. Here, they're asking you, what is the value of t? Okay, t means the first value is always you replace the x part with the t and replace the left-hand side with a 0. So you get this equation. Right? Now, how do you find the value of t? Multiple ways. If your score is less than 600, you just plug it in. So I'll tell you the actual answer could be 8 here, because I mean, you'll plug in all of these answers and you will get this answer. Let's plug in 8 and see if it works, right? So you get 2 times 8 minus 4 squared minus 32. So how do you solve this? You got 2, 8 minus 4 squared, which gives you 8 minus 4 is 4 squared minus 32. And then you want to use pandas now. So 4 squared is 16 and 2 times 16 is 32. So what do you get? You get 32 minus 32, which is equal to 0, right? So this works. It checks. In other words, if you put t is equal to 8, it checks. That's one way to do it, right? Another way to do it, I'm going to show you 3 important ways to do this problem. The other way to do it is by, what was this, 32? Is by solving it. How do you solve this? You add 32 to both sides. So you can add 32 to both sides like this, right? And you get 32 is equal to 2 times t minus 4 squared. Now you isolate this part. The way you isolate it is by dividing by 2. Again, there are other questions on my channel that you can see and solve, and you can solve this way. All right, so let me just rewrite this part here. The way you solve this is by making this 32. Remember, there was a 32 here, there was a 2 here, and then you have t minus 4 squared, right? You divide by 2, which is equal to 16, right? Now what you do is you take the square root on both sides of this. So you'll get t minus 4 is equal to 4, right? And also minus 4, negative 4. But just let's take the positive value of this. T minus 4 is negative 4. There you go. Now what do you do? How do you find t? Easy. I think you know this part. So I'll just erase all of this. So you had 4. Just simplifying this, you can always go back and check it, is equal to t minus 4. And so t is equal to 8. Remember, you have to kind of, for the test, right? You can easily improve your score by 200, 300 points. Nobody, all these people I teach in my private sessions, also, I tell them all you need to do is memorize this. If you're having a 450 score, easily you can go to a 650. If you're having a 600 score, you can easily go to a 720. If you're getting a 750 already, that's hard. Probably a little bit of an improvement, but I mean, come on. This is what I'm helping you on, right? All of these parts. So how do you solve this problem one more time is you will think about this question like this. You plug in the values. So 2 times t minus 4 squared minus 32 is equal to 0. And you solve it. And then you will get t is equal to 8. And that's your answer, right? So this is a very important problem for you to understand. Now, there's another way to do it for the very advanced 700 plus people. So I'm going to just talk some mumbo jumbo, which might sound mumbo jumbo to most of you, but for the people who know this is the vertex form, which means it's a parabola, the vertex being 4, 32. These are the x-intercepts. So that means this is going to be 0, 0. And you know the vertex always has an axis of symmetry. So if it's 0, 0, and this is 4 here, this is 0, this is 4, then obviously this is going to be 8, 0, giving you 8 as the answer. Of course, this requires a lot of knowledge. This is for the 700 plus people. How do you solve this particular problem? So that's basically it. Now see if you can try to solve this particular problem that I'm going to give you. Okay, the problem is same of this type. H of x is equal to 5 x minus 7 squared minus 125. And it's the same question. So how would you solve this? right? Again, remember you have to find t 0 and 0. If you don't understand it, watch this video, watch this video, watch this video, rewatch it. You'll get it eventually. It's like riding a bike. Eventually, you will stop falling, and it'll become second nature for you. And then when you see the problem the second time, it's so easy, and you'll thank me after your test. Many people have thanked me because they've seen these problems again and again. They just memorized it, right? You don't have to do any classes, just attend this live session and you've got it. So what do? You've got 0 is equal to 5 t minus 7 squared minus 125. What do? You move the 125 here, and then I'll leave it with you on how to solve this. If you still have difficulty, post your answers, comment, and let's see if you can solve it. Okay, great. All right, so this was the math part. Now here's a basic SAT question bank. So I usually make it a point to at least do a little bit of grammar, right? So let's look at some grammar. Okay. So what's the deal with grammar, right? You want to think about some very important ideas here. The important idea is this part here has to agree with radiation, the radiation part. So main thing that they're checking, right? This is called the, of course, the grammar part of the test. The radiation, that, is it singular or is it plural? It's singular, right? It's not radiations or boys or girls, it's just one. So therefore the radiation that occurs is a possible correct answer. The radiation that occur doesn't make sense. If they had the radiations that occur, that would make more sense, right? So the radiation that occurs would be right. This is out. And the radiation that are occurring, no. The radiation that is occurring, so therefore this part is also out. Now the radiation that have occurred, no. The radiations that have occurred, right? So it's going to be the radiation that occurs, and that's the answer. So what is this idea? You want to think about it. It's the S. In our studies, we're going to look at the S. The S is called, you're going to memorize this and you'll see your score is just going to boost up, is the subject verb. What's the subject? Radiation was the verb, occurs, right? So that's the idea. The radiation that occurs, okay? That's the basic concept here. You don't even have to read anything else here. Okay, remember, is the S. Let me tell you what's the entire acronym. It's RMS. We're talking about S. What is this? We're going to look at this very soon. Maybe if not in this live session, maybe in the upcoming live sessions, we'll talk about them. Okay, now let's see how we can try this particular part here. Generation. So see if you can solve this yourself. Generations of mystery and or horror. Writers have been influenced by Edgar Allan Poe. So whenever you see an of, first of all, you can eliminate this part. That's the easy shortcut. You don't need this. For grammar, you don't need this. And you can, here, you can write down the generations of mystery and on horror writers. Now, which one works? Generation of mystery and horror writers. If you put a semicolon, right, this is extremely easy. I think you've got the answer. It's, of course, the first one. But why did this not work? So for the semicolon, remember, you need to have two complete sentences here. And this is not a complete sentence, so this is out. Here, a hyphen means that you will be summarizing it. This also doesn't work. And this is only for a phrase. So this is not a phrase here. So therefore, this is out, and this one is the answer. I think this is fairly easy for you, so I'm not explaining it too much, but that's how you'll do it. Okay. Now, let's look at this one. How do we solve this particular question? And then maybe we can wrap up. So the Mission 66 initiative was approved by the Congress in 1956, represented by a major investment in the infrastructure of overburdened parks. The parks is common here, right? I'm just going to put in parks here directly. Parks like this. Maybe this is not the best place to put it. Parks here. It prioritized physical improvements to the physical roads, etc., etc., etc. Right. So this is where you will think about the RMS and then the R part. The R is the run-on sentence. Run-on sentence means you're going to have a sentence and you're going to have another complete sentence, and it's going to be separated by a semicolon or other things like a period or a colon or a comma and an and many others. Right? Remember, RMS is your key to SAT success here. So let's try to solve this one more time. The mission initiative, which was approved, I'm just going to simplify this, which was represented. So the mission, whatever this thing is, represented a major investment in the infrastructure of overburdened national parks. It's like parks and recreation style, right? It's trying to give money. So represented a major investment. So this is a complete sentence. Now the second sentence starts here. It prioritized physical improvements to the parks, blah, 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 while also establishing this. So you see, this is the second sentence. The first sentence here, second sentence here, blah, 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 separated by a comma. So what can these two blah, blah, blahs be? It's something like this. I am hungry. I eat a sandwich, and you put a semicolon here, and this is the meaning of the run-on part. So therefore this part is the correct answer. This part, if you put in, you will talk about this the next time, is a run-on sentence. This part is also a run-on sentence, and this part also is a run-on sentence. In other words, if you have two complete sentences, right, two independent clauses is a technical word for it, then you can put a semicolon here. So we'll talk more about this next time. Perfect. So I guess with that, I will end the stream, and then we will do a longer stream later. You can email me also how you liked it, what time would work, but I think usually 4:30 on Saturday and Sunday are a good time. So I'll talk to you next week. Email me if you have any questions, or post your answers in the comments, or if you have any questions, then I'll check them. All right, have a nice Sunday, and I'll talk to you very soon. This is again free of charge, and I will see you during the week and also on Saturday, Sunday for this next live stream. See ya. Bye.